welcome to another edition of Hypnosis Helps with me, Neil Myers. And today is yet a different program. I'm going to continue to pick up the theme of hypnosis and hypnosis in the use of weight loss, weight management, and even obesity. Now, this is, as those of you who have watched this before, this is a live, unedited show. Today, assuming everything works out, we're going to have somebody calling in, one of my clients who, as it turns out, also later became a hypnosis practitioner. Her name is Holly. She'll be calling in probably in a few minutes. But other than that, it's just me. Last time I was with Dr. Kendra Becker, and sometimes I have a colleague with me, but today it's just me. And since this show is live and unedited, you will see all the things that are edited out in shows that are not live and are edited. Like, for example, you'll see me drink something like coffee. Oh, very good. Or water, or I'll scratch my nose or whatever. So if you can get by with those distractions and interruptions, then I think you'll find the information contained in this show is very, very useful. Last time on the show, I announced that we were launching a new program featuring hypnosis combined in the early stages with a form of ketogenic paleo diet. And Dr. Kendra Becker and I discussed at length the advantages of that, why we chose to take that particular route. And Dr. Becker described in some considerable detail the advantages and her beliefs in the paleo keto diet protocol. And they were extremely helpful, and I'm very excited to be working with her. However, in the intervening week or so that we first talked about it with Dr. Becker, a few things struck me. And it looks like actually somebody's on the line right now, and that's Holly. And we're gonna pick it up just there. So here's what they are.
Now you can pick it up.
Holly, are you on the line?
Yes.
Hi. Hello. This is Holly. She's a client of mine, and Holly became so interested in the hypnotic process that, you don't mind me saying, I hope, Holly, well, I'm going to say it anyway, that Holly is also now a certified hypnosis practitioner, right?
Correct.
Very good. And Holly and I worked on a number of things together, but the reason I brought Holly on the program today is because I wanted her to describe some of her experiences with hypnosis, with dieting, and how we work together. Because one of the things I want to do on this show is explain why the use of hypnosis is valuable regardless of whatever diet you're following, or even no diet at all, in weight loss and weight management. So I just wanted to make it really clear that you don't have to stick to a specific diet. In other words, hypnosis isn't linked to a particular diet. In fact, it's very, very flexible for reasons that I'm going to describe more fully. But I wanted to bring somebody on the show who had recent experience of using hypnosis, hypnosis specifically for weight loss, who understands the hypnotic process and understands herself. So, Holly, welcome. There you are. That's your introduction.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask Holly some basic questions, and I want to hear what she has to say, and I want everybody else to hear what we have to say. So, Holly, you expressed an interest, desire you wanted to lose weight. You weren't content with the weight that you were at. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And could you just give a brief description of some of the things that you had tried in the past, successfully, unsuccessfully, partially successfully? It's in whatever way you want.
Sure. So last January, I started Whole30, which is where you eat whole foods, fruits, vegetables, meat, no dairy or grain or sugar.
Cutting out dairy, cream or sugar. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And I lost about 10 pounds on that.
Okay.
And then the idea was to introduce back the dairy and grain to see if you are sensitive to it.
And just to make it clear, was there any hypnosis at this point?
No.
Okay, so this is a hypnosis-free diet.
You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you lost about 10 pounds over what time period?
Over 30 days.
How long, sorry?
30 days.
30 days, okay. That's not bad at all. And then what happened?
Well, once I introduced the dairy and grains and sugar back in, I gained about 5 pounds.
Okay, so still an overall loss of 5 pounds. And then over what time period did you regain that?
Until probably the end of March.
Okay, so January to March, so you lost about 5 pounds. And if you don't mind me asking, what were your weight loss goals? What were you looking to lose?
Overall, probably about 60 pounds.
About 60 pounds. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So you got somewhere towards those goals. Then what happened?
Well, then in April, I went to Hypnosis to you.
Okay.
But not for weight loss, but for fear of driving.
Okay. Do you want to say on the air how that worked out? You don't have to, but.
Oh no, that worked out great, very well. 2 sessions, and I was driving again.
Okay.
Then I learned self-hypnosis. Mm-hmm. And then we started the weight loss program probably end of April or so.
Okay. Now, the weight loss protocol, and I want to describe different things. I want to make it very, very clear as we're talking here on this show that hypnosis is not tied to a specific diet. Okay, you don't have to follow a specific diet. There are a lot of hypnosis practitioners that promote specific diets, and we're going to describe why specific diets may at particular times be very helpful, but it's not absolutely necessary to bring in the power of hypnosis. So let me ask you a question. When we introduced the program, it's a loaded question because I know the answer. What diet did we use?
No diet.
Right. So say that again.
No diet.
There was no diet, okay? So one of the programs that I use, and eventually where I want people to go, is to be free of diet. So I'm going to describe why in a moment. It's not because I hate diets or I think that they have no place or value. But remember, this is where we started Holly, okay? And again, you don't have to start there. You may want to finish there. But I just want to describe what occurred as it occurred, real world. Not fiction, not made up, not what we'd like to happen, but what actually happened. And so, tell me what occurred. What was the change in your... And actually, just before you do, I just want to make one point, which I've made many times, but I'll make it again. When we talk about weight loss, what we're really talking about is, of course, the loss of excess fat. You can reach a so-called healthy weight by dropping muscle. That I wouldn't consider, and I don't think any nutritionist, doctor would consider that healthy. We're looking to shed excess fat. Right, Holly?
Correct.
Right. So I just want to make that clear for everybody out there. So we talk about weight as a shorthand description, but it's really just a shorthand. So I'm sorry, Holly. So what happened? Tell us the blow-by-blow account.
Oh, sure. So I lost 15 pounds initially, and then I...
Hang on, let me stop you there. Over what time period did you lose 15 pounds?
Through like June.
So
April,
from
May,
between,
June.
You started the program in, when do you say? Was it May or April?
I think late April.
April. So in the space of 5 or 6 weeks, you lost 15 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No diet, except when we say no diet, we have very specific rules, which we'll come to in a second, but we have very specific rules. So it's not an accident. It's things. Did you notice a change in your eating habits or eating patterns at all?
I was more focused on eating when I was hungry and stopping when I'm full and noticing when I was satisfied. Okay,
very good. How about the taste of the food?
Yes, and tasting my food.
Good. All right then. So then tell me. Then what happened?
And I had a bit of a plateau.
Right. So there was a plateau when you more or less stayed at the same weight.
Yes.
And for how long?
About a month.
Okay.
Like all of July.
Okay. What happened next?
And then I started blood flow restriction training.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about that and the use of hypnosis a little bit later on, probably not on this show, maybe on the next show. I just want to describe a little bit about what that is. If you get a chance to look it up, folks, look up blood flow restriction exercise, sometimes called BFR. In Japanese, which is where the concept came from, it's sometimes called Katsu. Blood flow restriction exercise. Probably the most knowledgeable person in the country on blood flow restriction exercise is somebody called Dr. Jim Stray-Gunderson, and it's possible that Dr. Stray-Gunderson will join us on the air for a description of blood flow restriction exercise in conjunction with weight loss. I want to be very, very clear that, like any exercise program, you have to ensure that you're in a condition to take an exercise program. You may want to consult with your doctor. I strongly recommend on our programs, and we talked about last week a little bit, exercise. And the reason I recommend blood flow restriction exercise is because it's very, very powerful, it's very well researched, it's very safe, regardless as to whether you're young or old, very overweight or just a little overweight, whether you've exercised a lot or not at all. You can incorporate this into what you do. Now, by the way, when I talk about blood flow restriction exercise, or you hear it, this is not blood occlusion exercise. That is a completely different thing. It is an unsafe and dangerous practice, which may lead to all sorts of health problems, which we'll talk about in greater detail. But we're talking here about blood flow restriction. And if you get a chance to look it up, look up Dr. Jim Stray-Gunderson. He has a marvellous lecture on YouTube which describes it really beautifully. Anyway, so you began following you began that process, right? Along with whatever it was we were doing, correct?
Correct.
And again, was there any dietary element at this point?
No, I was just keeping up what we learned in hypnosis.
Okay, very good.
What I learned, yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, I lost 10 more pounds and then I stopped losing weight in November and December.
Okay.
And I plateaued again.
So in total, between the start of the program and about October, with a combination of exercise and no diet, you lost how much?
About 25 pounds.
About 25 pounds. So again, this is it's not totally Holly's goal. She wants to lose more than that. But the thing that I want to emphasize at this point is that we have two elements working. We have the element of the change in how she's eating and her relationship to food. And we have the other element of a powerful form of exercise. By the way, did you find it difficult to keep up the exercise, Holly?
No, I do it 3 to 4 times a week.
Right. And by the way, the initial recommended protocol given by the BFR folks, Dr. Jim Stray-Gunderson, is to exercise 20 minutes or so, 3 to 5 times a week. So again, we're incorporating that, and as I say, we're going to talk about that more and the use of exercise and hypnosis anyway. But so you brought that in, right?
Yes.
And now we're at. Did you say we're about at November now, right?
Right.
Okay. So relatively short time ago.
Yep.
Okay. Because as we're filming this show, we're filming it on, what's the date today? Is it January the 3rd? I don't know. Let me see.
January 3rd.
Yes, January the 3rd. So now and then what happened next?
I plateaued through the end of December.
Okay. Now, when you say plateaued, you neither gained weight nor lost weight. Is that what you mean?
Pretty much, yeah. I wavered within 5 pounds.
Okay, so there's a 5 pound fluctuation up and down.
Yeah.
And as I say to people on any dietary program, losing weight isn't a straight downward path. There's going to be little jumps. And anyway, during the course of a day, we may weigh 1 pound or 2 pounds more or less as we eat or don't eat or exercise. So that's why I don't have people focus too much just on the scales. One of the things I like people to do, and I suggested to Holly, although I don't know if you ever got the chance, did you ever measure the change in the fat to muscle ratio or anything like that at all?
No, not recently.
Okay. There are various measures of that. Some health centres, gymnasiums have tools and devices. You used to do it by submerging in a bath of water. There are other tools that do it. And I think actually one of the most helpful measures is to measure the change in levels of fat, because my guess is that Holly's been... So how many weeks have you been doing the BFR for now, Holly?
Since August.
Since August. So what have we got? August,
Ready.
September, October, November, December. So almost 6 months, right?
Yeah, 5 months, yeah.
5 months. So my guess is, although of course it's a guess, I don't know, that somebody exercising in that way regularly, as Holly has been, not only, there are many, many positive benefits of blood flow restriction exercise, and you can use any form of exercise program just about with it, which again we'll talk about. But my guess is one of the things that's probably changed in your body, Holly, is that you've put on more muscle, right? What do you think? Right? But there's no way, but you haven't measured that, correct?
No, but I can tell. I did just like moving pots of boiling water to the sink is so much easier now.
So you feel a subjective difference and you sense that you're stronger.
Yep.
Right. Now, as most of you probably know, muscle is denser than fat. And so sometimes it's been reported that when people incorporate exercise which increases muscle mass, builds muscle, tauntens muscle, then a few things happen. There are metabolic changes that occur, which are quite well reported. But also, you may appear to gain weight. So one of the questions that I kind of have, now Holly didn't gain weight, but she plateaued. It's possible, I don't know because we haven't done the measures, it's just a hypothesis, that increase in muscle, she's still losing weight, she's still losing fat. It's possible, I don't know. I suspect that might be the case, but in any event, let's pretend for the time being it's not. Just the health benefits of dropping that 25 pounds and how you feel as you increase your mobility, increase your strength as a result of exercise and other things, that's going well for you, right?
Yes, and actually I just realized in the last year I hadn't had a single sick day either, and usually I have around 4 or 5, so it's impressive.
Say that again, please. I didn't hear that. The line was bad.
Oh, I'm saying I didn't have a single sick day last year.
Right.
And usually I have around 4 or 5, so I've been much healthier as well.
Right. And so this is another thing. We tend to be, thank you for mentioning that. We tend to be very focused when we come to weight loss on the loss of weight, but of course we don't want to just lose weight or lose fat. We're looking to do that because we want to improve our lifestyle, but of course primarily we want to improve our health. And so that's an extremely helpful measure. Holly didn't have as many sick days. So again, we're not just working purely on weight, fat. We're also working on overall health as a result of incorporating these things, using the power of hypnosis to help and support these practices. So thank you for that. One of the things I ask people to do is I frequently say, make a note of positive changes that have occurred. And we can't always 100% say that every positive change, of course, is a result of hypnotic practice. However, in the absence of other changing factors, then where we incorporated the hypnosis, that would indicate that it's probably at the very least helpful or a key element. In this instance, we have a change in eating pattern supported by the hypnotic process, plus a change in exercise pattern supported by the hypnotic process. So we're moving towards not just better weight, but better health. So that's excellent. So now what happened next? What's the next chapter in the story?
So the last week in December, my husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
So I researched that and came across a keto diet that's supposed to help with that.
Let me stop you there for 1 second. So just to be Holly's husband, if you don't mind me saying on or asking on the air, if you don't want to reveal, you don't have to. How old is he?
53.
53. Okay, so he's a young man. Okay, he's a young 53, and Holly's husband. Can I use his first name on the air?
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter was diagnosed with adult onset type 2 diabetes, which, as most of you watching may well know, probably know, very often certain simple medication is recommended. However, it's very often controllable through a combination of modifications of diet and exercise. And so, just to make it clear, Peter is not a client of mine. He hasn't been through any of the weight loss processes. Although I don't know, Holly, have you been practicing on him? Poor guy.
Yes, I have. Yes.
But I don't know. Did you do anything specific with weight, in the interests of openness and candor on the show?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
Yes.
So how did he respond to that?
Pretty good. He lost about 5 pounds.
Okay, so a moderate change. So
Yeah.
there's a diagnosis, and the diagnosis is that Peter has type 2 diabetes, right? And in an effort to help that and control that, there's dietary changes recommended. By the way, did the doctor recommend dietary changes?
Well, the doctor told him to lose 20 pounds. He did
So
not tell him how to do it.
And that's frequently the case these days, which is why doctors are interested in the work that we do. Of course, being in the country that we live in and the age that we live in, a great number of patients of doctors are overweight, as Dr. Kendra Becker last week described. And so doctors all across the country are interested and want their patients to return to a healthy weight. In fact, they themselves often want that. So it's not just their patients, they themselves. And so very often the doctor will say, how much weight was Peter supposed to lose?
20 pounds.
20 pounds. And so there's 20 pounds, but it doesn't tell you how to do it, right?
Right.
Right. So then the onus is placed upon the patient to find a program that is suitable. The doctor doesn't care as long as you've lost that 20 pounds, right?
Right.
Because if you lose that 20 pounds, he's hoping that Peter's blood sugar levels are going to normalise and the type 2 will go into abatement. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So this is good. So then what happened?
So we started doing keto starting last week.
Okay. Now, when you say we started doing keto, were you diagnosed with type 2 diabetes?
No.
So, in the interests of the viewers and everything, why did you start? What was the reason?
Just to support him. I didn't want to eat different food from him.
Okay, fair enough. Now, let me just take a little bit of a time out there, but this is very helpful. Now, the point I want to make is that Peter and Holly together researched or I guess Holly researched.
No.
I was being nice. I'm being polite. So, researched a diet, but Holly researched a diet, recommended it to Peter, and a form of ketogenic diet, which appears to be very helpful for people with type 2 diabetes. Is that a fair summary, Holly?
Yes, yes.
And in support of that, and in support of her partner, who I'm guessing, and if I'm unkind, you've got to stop me. I'm guessing that unless you do it, he'll find it almost impossible or won't do it solo. Is that true or not?
Yes, that's true.
Which just goes to prove, folks, if you've ever got any doubt, that hypnosis cannot make you want something. He's got to want to do whatever he wants to do. It can support changes that you want to make, where there are blockages in the conscious, subconscious mind, specifically, which are stopping it. So Holly felt that he needs to stick to this. He's going to do it now. Here's where I want to mention the flexibility of the hypnotic process. In the same way that Holly lost weight, and I believe fat, consistently over a period of months, using nothing but the hypnotic suggestions that we worked on together, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, not those specific ones, but how we do that a little bit, plus a structured exercise program, all of which she stuck to, right? Now, I want to make this really clear, that many people start exercise programs but don't continue them. Many people start dietary programs but don't continue them. Why? Well, one of the reasons why is that the conscious and subconscious mind are not aligned. One part of the mind is getting in the way of the other part of the mind, and the hypnotic process helps. So, in this instance, Peter needs to lose 20 pounds. Over what time period does the doctor want him to lose it, Holly?
I don't think he said, but his next appointment's April.
Okay, so where are we now? So within a few weeks, right? He wants him to bring that weight down. Now, in that instance, there it may be a use for a diet. In this instance, Holly adopted the ketogenic diet, or Peter did rather, and Holly joined him. You can still use hypnosis with a diet, without a diet. For example, some patients who are going to have certain surgeries, heart surgery for example, need to lose weight fast. Sometimes people who are morbidly obese, very, very heavy, maybe 100, 150 or more pounds overweight, need to lose weight relatively fast. And for those people, sometimes certain diets need to be prescribed because there is an imperative that they shed those extra pounds of fat very fast, either in anticipation of a procedure or because the very, very weight is becoming so mortally dangerous to their health. So I want to make it very clear that although you can lose weight using the hypnotic process without a conventional diet, sometimes a diet is necessary to achieve particular short-term goals. In Peter's instance, to take off that weight in the hope and belief that that type 2 diabetes will abate. And as Dr. Kendra Becker and I were saying last week, sometimes the initial part of a diet to give people a boost, a quick change metabolically, to keep them emotionally, mentally motivated, and to bring the body onto the right pathway, on the right track to begin that process of losing weight. There can be benefit there. So pick up the. By the way, Holly, if you want to comment on any of that, if you've got any opinions on that, feel free to do so. See, it's a live show, folks, unedited, so I don't know what she's going to say. She could say anything.
No, that was good.
So did you want to have any observations or comments on that, Holly?
Not really, nope.
Okay, so now Holly's put herself on a ketogenic diet, right?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been doing that for now?
A week.
A week. And what's happened?
At first I was losing about a pound a day, then it slowed to half a pound a day.
Okay, that's still pretty fast, right? That's
yeah.
pretty rapid weight loss, because on the dietary programs, the no diet hypnosis protocol that I've recommended in the past, and that's not the only one I've recommended, but as an example, people tend to lose weight at the rate of 1 pound to 3 pounds a week, something like that. Some people need to lose weight a lot faster than that for health reasons. Other people, that's fine. 1 pound to 2 pounds a week, for example, is a lot of weight if you consistently do it. And again, it's not a straight line, there are fluctuations, but moving in the right direction. So you've experienced that, and Holly's, you're continuing to, work and experiment with that. How's Peter doing?
Good.
Good.
He lost weight as well, yeah.
Okay, that's great. So in this instance, if Peter was coming to me as a client, as a hypnotic client, and he came with that specific goal, that he wanted this dietary program because he had that specific goal under his doctor's recommendations, then what we would do hypnotically is we would incorporate that goal, sticking to that diet for that specific short-term, medium-term loss of 20 pounds, 25 pounds, or whatever it was, into the program. This is a very, very important point that I want us to emphasize. Just because Holly has decided to do this in support of her partner,